This week, Alistair gets on his bike to find out how the same engineers can create the ordinary.
I can feel the device giving me a boost as I cycle.
Replay, ref.
And would you clone your pet? We meet someone who has. Hi there, it is time to play a game of let's think of lots of random sounding things and hold them all in our head at the same time. Okay, you ready? You ready?
Yes.
Okay, think of these things.
The world's fastest filming drone, a clip-on device that turns any bike electric, and a skateboard park suspended underneath a hot air balloon.
That last one really does sound random, I know, but the question is, what on earth do those things have in common?
Well, they've all been developed with the help of the Red Bull racing team, and Alistair Keane's been finding out why.
When it comes to Formula One, there's one team dominating the races. Their sheer number of wins is hard evidence that Red Bull have built something at the cutting edge of tech.
But this isn't where their design innovation stops, and their other projects might surprise you. If not, they'll certainly catch your breath.
This extreme BMX bowl was built with the help of Red Bull Advanced Technologies, or RBAT, a spin-out from the racing team embarking on lots of different engineering projects.
The thing that links them all together is taking this Formula One technology and methodologies and applying it to other things. So yeah, the common theme is the Formula One tech in all of them.
These are the cars that Red Bull Racing is all about, but there are lots of bits of this tech that you can take forward into other areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like you can look at this and you can see on the floor there, you can see some different types of carbon fibre, different weaves, and those materials we very much can carry forward through directly from the race car into other products. You've then got sort of more specifics, so like the actual aerodynamic shapes of like all this complexity around here. Well, it's very unlikely we'd ever take any of that and use it elsewhere. But it goes back to the tools and methodologies that we use to understand the airflow around those parts and develop those parts.
This is the BMXer Chris Kyle, but creating his unique skate park isn't without challenge. That's where RBAT came in.
They came to us to see what can we do material-wise to make it lighter, but also strong enough so that when it came down, it didn't field. So there were a number of interesting structural challenges that we had to overcome. The main challenge was keeping that weight down. We had a little bit of margin with the balloon, and I think the balloon that we've ended up manufacturing was the biggest in Europe at the time.
It's perhaps not a surprise, though, that some of RBAT's projects come back to Formula One. Their most recent helping to create what could be the world's fastest drone.
The original brief was to be able to film the car and keep up with the car. And so that was what was done, and then the footage is really impressive. And so then you start thinking, well, how can that be used in the future? Where do we want to go with that? And the main thing they wanted was a weight saving. And so we looked at the drone to sort of what I call the bodywork on the outside of it, and then the sort of cruciform structure that actually holds the motor. We took those, we re-engineered them in composite materials. So I think overall we reduced the weight of the drone by about 10%. And yeah, that helped just lift that performance of the drone to that higher level so that it was able to keep up with the car. I think straight line, it's probably faster than the F1 car. I think its biggest challenge is how you stop the drone, because it hasn't got four nice sticky tyres in contact with the ground to slow it up. So it's they're pretty much having to reverse the direction of the drone and fly it backwards to actually slow the drone down. And for me, the most impressive thing there is that they're able to control the drone, flip it on its axis to slow it down, whilst still keeping the car in picture. So yeah, the pilots of the drone are incredibly impressive.
But it isn't just the super fast that they're working on.
So this is the Scarpa device that we helped Scarpa develop, and it turns your bike into an e-bike.
This little device is the creation of a startup in London.
The Scarpa unit has a motor, full gearbox, control electronics, full battery pack and battery management technology all built into one unit. So you simply click this onto your disc brake on the bicycle and away you go.
So this is where it clips on to any bike?
Absolutely. This is a bog standard normal bike, and I've replaced the rear disc brake with a Scarpa disc. Now this is the Scarpa disc brake. It looks and feels and behaves exactly like a normal disc brake. It's a little bit thicker at the back, and that's because it's hiding our full gearbox. And when you want your bike to be an e-bike, you simply open the handle, line up these metal pins with our disc, slide it onto the disc, close the handle, and just let it drop and click into place. And then we turn on the unit like so, and you have an e-bike.
And when you want it to be a normal bike, you just take it off.
Exactly.
And away you go.
Exactly.
Okay, time to give it a go.
I can feel the device giving me a boost as I cycle. It's not on sale yet, but with it due to cost more than £1,000, I think I'll still be relying on my own leg power when it is. Like most inventors, Scarpa faced challenges in creating their tech. For them, it was in the gear system, and that's where they lent on the expertise of Red Bull.
If you imagine the geometry and the space around the rear disc brake of a bicycle, these are really highly conserved areas with a lot of standards describing how they sit on a bike. We had to fit a full gearbox into that space. We had that gearbox had to work in a reliable way for thousands of kilometers and be waterproof and provide low drag. So really it's fitting everything we need to do into that small space available was definitely the hardest challenge to overcome in this project.
With such a range of extreme projects, I do wonder if they ever have to say no.
I think sometimes people are shocked how much ideas are going to cost to actually bring to reality, and so that's perhaps the biggest stumbling block. The Chris Kyle stunt where he was in the bowl beneath the balloon. I mean, I remember people saying to us then, well, what did you say when people said, well, we want you to do this? We're like, well, it doesn't feel that unusual for Red Bull to come up with that kind of an idea. So no, it's never a flat no. We'll always look at it.
That was Alistair. Staying with sport, and data plays a huge role in tracking performance of athletes, including footballers.
Yeah, the problem is this technology can be quite expensive, which makes it difficult to access for the lower league teams, which just don't have the funds. Well, Shona McCallum has been to see one wearable tech startup, which is hoping to change that.
When it comes to competitive sport, every team wants to be on top form. These players are no different.
We're disappointed in where we are. We're a better team than 10th position, but our performances obviously haven't shown that throughout the year. So I think, you know, we're in the split now, and I think our goal is to win every game that's coming our way.
So I'm here to find out how technology can help this team kick on. Yes!
Well, it's not only team spirit, but they're using a data-driven wearable device to track their performance.
30,000 athletes up and down the UK are using this technology as grassroots teams understand the importance that collecting data can have on their game.
The player data GPS trackers collects the team's key information.
So that's them all good to go.
From distance covered to how fast their sprints are. And the tool measures a number of data points for individual players and the full team, which helps shape decisions on the pitch.
From my perspective, being able to look at it week on week and almost like you can get the data across the whole season, it can paint quite a solid picture, and you can build on that information year in and year out.
Tell me then about how easy it is to use this technology when planning your training sessions.
What I would do is I would take the units right here, make sure that they're all charged, turned on, and then we go into the app, which is the best bit about player data, and it's what this live data coming through can give you. It's in real time, so I can say to the manager, right, okay, they've already passed this threshold for this segment, maybe we should move on to the next. And we can adjust the timings of certain parts of the session accordingly. And we can also pull out players who are doing too much. Or we can also tell players to maybe step up a wee bit if they're clearly not reaching the intensity required.
This data-driven training programme has been embraced by the players.
You can compare them with your teammates. So a lot of people maybe are a bit competitive and like to compare with other players and stuff like that.
And how much do you enjoy looking at the data?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful. If you've not played as well, it's have I actually ran as much? Sometimes you run a lot, but you've actually not impacted the game. So there's maybe some training sessions where you're absolutely knackered and you can have a look and go, well, we did run 7K, so that explains it. So this is basically our team survey that we'd fill out.
And the app also asks some personal questions too, like if the players are on their period, something that the club's CEO feels is important to discuss.
Well, if they've had a bad training session, why is that? It's not because maybe they just can't be bothered. It's actually that they might be in phase 1 of their cycle, bleeding heavily, are hugely fatigued and feeling just generally unwell.
So clearly for women's teams, there's an additional benefit of opening up about all aspects of their health. But I was interested to meet the player data founder to ask some questions about the costs of these devices.
Completely dedicated to this segment of the market. We built a subscription model that aligns ourselves with how club finances work. So clubs just pay us monthly, like Netflix, basically, but for your sports data.
Hi Dylan.
Hi, how's it going?
How's the training?
Yeah, it's going well so far. What we're looking for today is exactly how much high intensity running that they're going to do. So right now we're looking at, average of 15 metres for sprints, which is actually quite a lot.
And we can drill into each individual player as well.
Yes, of course. So we're looking at Callie, for example, and look at all her stats so far. We can see, okay, so she's falling behind a wee bit now, but we expect that to pick up as the session progresses. So that has always been the aim for this session, and it's always nice to see it come through, so you know that it's working.
There are loads of sporting tracking tools on the market, but finding the best one for your needs could make all the difference, no matter the environment.
Welcome to Focus on Africa, the place where real-time,